welcome everyone to the Circumscribe Symposium. I, your super scribe, am absolutely delighted to welcome all of you beautiful, 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 beautiful scribes to this celebration of all of the work that we have done, all of the work that we have partaken in the past scribal calendar year. So, as always, the first lecture of our symposium will involve a brief review of all of the roles that we have both inside and outside of our scribal cult. Culture. So, first, we have our dear proscribes. Our proscribes are the professionals in the crowd who have a little certification to knack on to any of the jobs that they undertake. Any of their scribal jobs. We are honored to have all of the proscribes here in the room with us today. Next, we have our transcribes. Yes, our transcribes. Our transcribes are scribes that are scribes by vocation, but not scribes by profession. Our transcribes often undertake other roles within society, such as, say, being a mechanic, a teacher, or a professional hockey player. And they take into that other profession their scribal vocation. Of course, third, we have our conscribes. Our conscribes are those within the group that are willing to undertake jobs that some would consider to be of too morally dubious a nature for them to desire undertaking. Of course, the conscribes do their jobs all in service of the greater good, and if you are one of our scribal community members, you have no reason not to trust the conscribes. Fourth, we have our dear prescribes, the children. Oh, bless the children. They will make excellent scribes one day. Ah, yes. Now we have number five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, the A scribes. Sometimes the scribes. That's a scribe or a scribe. A scribe or a scribe. These are people who desire to be part of our community and are welcome to be part of our community even though they have no natural instinct or desire to be literate. They want to partake in the community events and the culture that we have within our community without partaking in the literary nature of our vocation. A scribe or a scribe. A scribe. A scribe. It's a regional accent difference, which is an example in itself of how much more precise written language is, as opposed to oral, verbal, auditory communication. This, of course, is an important tenet in our doctrine and belief system. The primacy of the written word. And next we have our two terms for psychological scribal movements within every scribe. We have our inscribes and our subscribes, the inscribes and the subscribes. Many people, especially those outside of our community, scribes are distinct from the subscribes. The subscribe is the small scribal consciousness that exists innately within all of us, yes, even within the ascribes or the ascribes. Even within the ascribes or the ascribes, there is a subscribe. The working theory is that within the ascribes or the ascribes, the subscribe has not woken up. It is still waiting for its trigger, per se. The subscribe is the very, very small voice within you that inspires you to write, that inspires you to take up your pen and scribble, 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 scribble. Many of the unique creations of the subscribe, of course, unique creations of the subscribe is the term that we use for a type of art which flows without blocking the inspiration with conscious walls, conscious hesitancies. The unique creations of the subscribe are scribbles which flow naturally from a scribe onto the page. Scribbles which flow naturally from the subscribe through the vessel of the scribe onto the page. The natural scrib, scribbles onto the page. Scribbles onto the page, scribbles onto the page. Many of our greatest pieces of art, indeed, many of the pieces of art that you see lining our symposium walls were unique creations of the subscribes, of great scribes that we hold in memory. They scribbled without pause. They had a way of completely allowing their flesh vessel to be filled with scribal energy. Part of the technique that they used to allow their subscribe to flow was by actively fighting the inscribe. The inscribe, much like the subscribe, is the innately unscribal parts of your inner voice. The part of your inner consciousness that makes you want to speak before writing. The part that makes you want to act without recording. Act without recording. Acting without reason. That is the inscribe. The inscribe and the subscribe in unenlightened members of our society. They act in a sort of balance, a constant push and a constant pull. A constant push and a constant pull. One is always vying for power, and one is always falling behind. One is always falling behind. Whenever one joins our community and removes themselves from larger society, we believe that we can give them the tools to squelch the desires of the inscribe, to let the subscribe free, to let the subscribe flow unhindered by the inscribe, by that part of the self which inhibits true scribbles of the subscribe. The scribbles of the subscribe must flow unhindered. Excuse me, I'm feeling a call to scribble. Scribble, 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 scribble. You must follow the actions of the subscribe. I do hope that this can serve as an example for all of you, that even when in the throes of a presentation, a good scribe must always be able to pull back from their active life and submit to the actions of the subscribe, as I am doing for you now. We are taking a break from the lecture in order to let the subscribe flow. To let the subscribe flow unhindered. To let the subscribe flow unhindered. To let the subscribe flow unhindered, and to meditate on the scribbles that appear. The scribbles that appear. The scribbles that appear. So is it justified to scribble in the air? To scribble in the air my blessing as the superscribe onto each and every one of you, dear fellow scribes. Dear fellow scribes, dear fellow scribes. Once you become a scribe, you leave your old self out the door. We erase your old life so that you can be made new, so that you can be rewritten, so that you can follow your scribal inspiration, follow your scribal vocation, follow your scribal vocation. Follow your scribal vocation. Scribble, 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 scribble. Scribble, 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 scribble. You have been set free. Back to the list. Ah, yes. just one final type of scribe left. Standing back there in the corner, we see you. We have our D-scribes. Our D-scribes are welcome in the symposium, of course. And I encourage all of you scribes to treat the D-scribes with the utmost respect, the utmost spirit of welcoming, while also not allowing their dangerous ideas to infect you. The D-scribes, you see, many of them consider themselves de-radicalized. This, of course, is a term that we scribes think is inappropriate. We are not radical, we are rad. We are not extremists, but we do have extremities, which we use to record every event that every scribe takes, including the D-scribes. So remember, D-scribes, extremities are removable. But it needn't get to that. That concludes the first lecture of this symposium. I wish you all an excellent rest of our celebration. There is food and drinks in the lounge area. And I hope that you all have all the time that you need to attend every lecture that interests you. Please remember to cast your votes in the ballot boxes in the lounge for who the next super scribe will be. I will take them on as a trainee in the coming year. And do not forget about the one extra special seminar that we have by our super